Welcome to the first episode of Two Idiots and a Dog, Idiots Unleashed.
Where we take your dumb ideas and make even dumber content.
Sorry, Drawfee.
I'm Grim.
I'm Zolgar, and Kaiju has wandered off somewhere else.
Just a quick warning, this is an uncensored podcast, so you may hear adult language or other content not suitable for children, the workplace, church, or frankly, human consumption.
This week, our topic is stupid weapons in media. That would be submitted by our friend Nix over on Discord. If you have an idea for a topic for us, you can always let us know on Discord or social media. But you can only vote for the topic on Discord.
So I'm going to open this little part. I'm going to kick this shindig off with an egregious example that exists across so many forms of media. Video games, movies, really bad television, really bad movies.
Hey.
Really bad video games.
Okay, we get the point.
Chainsaws.
I mean, they're cool. Chainsaws as a weapon are really cool.
Visually distinctive, iconic revving noise. I get it. Don't work.
Now, gotta give a slight exception to when you've got a media property, like, for example, Warhammer, 40k specifically. But you've got the chainsaw-type weapons that are specifically designed as a weapon, so it's designed to tear through flesh and bone.
We're going to just go ahead and put a pin in that 40k for later.
But yeah, chainsaws are fucking stupid as a weapon. I've used a chainsaw. They're not designed to cut through flesh. I mean, don't get me wrong, they will. They'll tear you up something fierce.
And then the chain binds.
The chain binds, and then it's just all kinds of problems.
Or the chain clogged with stuff that used to be a entity, yes, we'll go with entity, is going to lose some of its cutting efficacy and finally hit a hard substance, like, say, those calcium sticks inside our meat. And instead of going through it, which a chainsaw can do, it's going to rebound off. A rebounding chainsaw is not something you want. If you've ever struck a particularly thick cord of wood in the center of a stump with a chainsaw, you know what I'm talking about.
You know another weapon that's really stupid? We see a lot in media? Spiked baseball bats. And I don't mean, like, little spikes. I mean, like, big 6-inch nails driven through them.
Yeah, I can see that being an issue. Like, on paper, it seems like a great idea.
But if something penetrates what you're smacking, then it has a high chance of getting stuck. Also, the other problem with that is drilling all these holes, or boring these holes with the nail itself, through your bat weakens the bat, so it's less likely to survive multiple hits.
Yeah. I want to draw a comparison to a real-world historical weapon real quick, the military pick. That was actually a drawback. The getting stuck thing was a drawback of military picks. They were not used on soft targets for that reason.
They were a can opener.
Exactly. And the fact of the matter is, the kind of carpentry and industrial nails you can find to put in your bat in, your apocalypse du jour, are not going to be sufficient to penetrate most forms of even improvised armor.
Yeah, I mean, unless your improvised armor is like soda cans. Now, I gotta say, in the realm of spiked bats, Negan had the right idea. Wrapping Lucille with baseball wire, with barbed wire, that one works because it's gonna make the bat deal a lot more damage, have the high chance of infection and other fun things if it's hitting a living target, but it's not gonna jam up.
Yeah, it will continue to shred soft targets while inflicting that nice blunt force trauma. And to make it stay on there, your best bet's probably a nail, like a carpenter's staple gun. And those wood staples will not disrupt the integrity of your bat too much.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to go deep to hold the wire on. They really don't.
Yeah, man. And also, you could hold them on with anything like basic carpentry screws, a basic small nail. There's plenty of things you could hold them on there with.
Yeah. All right. You know what? The prompt was stupid weapons from media, right?
Yeah.
And while we've discussed some stupid ones, God damn it, this is too damn tame. That's it. I'm pushing these dials to 11.
Oh, God.
We're going from one apocalypse to another.
Fallout?
Fallout.
Oh, Jesus.
The Fat Man.
Okay. Before we go into the Fat Man, because the Fat Man does take the cake for stupid weapons in Fallout.
Yeah, it does.
There are a couple other really stupid weapons from Fallout that should be mentioned.
Go ahead.
Okay, so if you ever played the lesser-known Fallout title, Fallout Tactics, there is, I don't remember exactly what they called it, but it was a shotgun fist. It was a punch weapon that used shotgun shells. Now, here's the fun thing with that. You could actually build one that would work, and it would be nasty. It would be brutal. But it would also have a very high chance of seriously injuring you, especially if you didn't build it just right.
Not to mention, using an actual shotgun shell is a complete waste. Be better off going with like the blanks that they use for like nail guns and stuff.
Yeah, because you don't really need the projectile. You just need the powder burn.
Yeah, if it's set to go off when you connect, creating a pseudo seal with the soft, meaty bits of your target, your main damage at that point is the expanding hot gas, not the buckshot or whatever.
Yeah, now don't get me wrong, the buckshot or slug is still going to do some extra damage itself, but...
Yeah, that's a I fell on my keys moment. And then some.
You know what the greatest weapon is, though?
Kaiju?
Kaiju's cuteness.
That is pretty strong weapon, not gonna lie. Speaking of strong, I mean, the Fat Man is strong. I will give it that. For those listening who don't know, the Fat Man is a... Well, let me rephrase. The Fat Man is billed as a personal tactical nuclear weapon.
Which in and of itself is stupid as hell.
But the Fat Man goes even further.
Of course it does.
So, if I tell you that a video game has a man-portable, personal, tactical nuclear weapon, what are you envisioning?
Probably an RPG.
Well, that's not what Fallout did.
Of course it didn't, because it's Fallout. And as much as I love Fallout, especially the older titles, 4 can eat a bag of dicks, Fallout is stupid sometimes.
It's a pneumatic catapult.
A pneumatic catapult.
That launches a mini nuke.
I don't have words. First of all, by pneumatic catapult, do you mean it is an air gun, an air cannon, or do you mean it is a pneumatically powered catapult?
It's dumber than that. You have a shoulder-mounted system with a long-angled sled, and there is a pneumatic piston that drives the mini-nuclear bomb up the sled and catapults it into the ether.
So it's not a nuclear catapult, it's a pneumatic ballista.
It's stupid, it's what it is.
Well, yeah, that too.
What's really fun is if you try to use it in VATS, there's a non-zero chance you're going to just blow yourself up.
I mean, yeah, that should be the case. So, not exclusive to Fallout, but it's used in Fallout and so many other video games. Rocket-powered hammers.
Yeah, no. I already see one major problem with it. And that major problem is, you are the fulcrum.
Yup.
And so either you have superhuman strength, the rocket isn't that strong, at which point why does it exist at all, or you just lost your weapon.
Now, there are cases where you could create a rocket-powered hammer that would be viable, because what you could have, and I say could, not all these do it, you would need to have a lot of skill with it, but you could have it so basically you're swinging it in, and as you're approaching your target, you do a quick burst of the rocket to create extra force, but you're not like keeping the rocket burning, so you're not going to actually throw your hammer. You're just using it to get that little bit of extra force right before you impact. Could work. But also, the other problem with a rocket-powered hammer, fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket fuel, well, okay, first of all, most rockets you can't like turn on and off easily, but that's beside the point. And rocket fuel burns up pretty fast, so we would have to have a really massive fuel reservoir.
And the only logical place I can think of to put that reservoir is in the head of the hammer, at which point, slosh, slosh, slosh.
Yeah.
Oh, but it could use solid. Well, solid fuel just burns, period.
Yeah, model rocket engines.
It just burns. It doesn't stop. There's no turning it off again. So if you trigger it, it goes until it's out of fuel. Just completely defeating the purpose.
Yep.
So you would need liquid fuel.
And a good control mechanism, including an ignition mechanism.
And as you use the fuel, it's going to become increasingly unbalanced as the remaining fuel sloshes around during your swing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
There is one other way you could do for fuel, but it would also be really stupid in a different way.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. You have, first of all, your hammer is attached to a backpack. You've got a hose that runs through the handle of the hammer and goes to the backpack, which is a fuel tank. There are so many stupid problems with that one. But you could do it.
Why not just make a flamethrower? Why make the hammer at all?
Because you don't want to burn the guy over there. You want to smash the guy over there.
That's so stupid.
Isn't it? But that's the point of this discussion.
Well, you know what? As stupid as all of this is, I feel like we're still not doing enough.
What now?
It's time to up our game. I'm going for a threefer. Ladies and gentlemen, strap in. We are going to the wide, wonderful world of Saints Row.
Strap in or strap on?
Both?
Hi,
Mom.
If your mom is listening to this one, we're sorry.
So very sorry. So first off, we have one of the most ridiculous weapons I have ever used in a video game. The dubstep gun.
I don't know. Dubstep is pretty lethal.
Fair. Then we have another pretty dumb weapon that it would work, but there's better ways to do what it does. The penetrator, which is a...
penetration.
Well, you're not far off because it is a, I want to say like 4-foot long, giant purple adult toy with a solid core.
I know some people who could use that.
I know some people who have used that.
That too.
But as ridiculous as that is, it still technically functions, right? Bonk, bonk, right?
Bonk with a sex toy.
Bonks with a sex toy. So, I think that means I need to up my game again.
Oh god, what now?
I give you the Sharkomatic.
Do I even want to know?
It is a blunderbuss that shoots chum.
Okay, that's just weird.
Once coated with the chum, a shark will erupt from under your feet and eat you.
I think I've seen that movie.
You would have.
Okay, we're going video games.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as stupid as any of those, but on a functional level, absolutely idiotic.
What you got?
Final Fantasy VIII. Gunblades.
You just had to fucking come for me, didn't you?
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I love them. They are. I do not like 8. 8 is my least favorite Final Fantasy game I've ever played.
Whereas it's my personal favorite.
Well, you're allowed to be wrong. But the weapons, those gunblades, are so stupid. And the worst part about the Final Fantasy VIII gunblades is you can actually build a firearm combined with a bladed weapon. It's been done historically. There are tons of them.
But wait, it gets dumber. It's more stupid than you know. I am, after all, an expert on all things gunblade.
And all things stupid.
I turned it into a career. Hi, guys. We're professionals. The gunblade doesn't even fire a projectile.
Even though we see them loading it.
It fires a blank charge at the point of impact of the blade to vibrate and drive the blade. So, you folks at home can't see this, but I am literally watching Zulgar's brain shut down in real time.
There are so many problems with that. Also, if you're going to fire a blank charge on impact, you don't fire it to drive the blade, you fire it at the point of impact, so you create the expanding gas, the massive damage from the expanding gas, like we talked about with the shotgun fist.
Oh, no. With gunblades, it's just there to vibrate the blade so it cuts deeper.
So what you're saying is it's just a big fancy vibrator.
I've had dates like that. Sorry, DB.
Fuck, man.
All right, since we're talking stupid guns, I'm gonna sidestep for a moment into the realm of movies. To a terrible movie that is actually one of my favorites. From Dusk Till Dawn.
Hey. You leave my beloved codpiece revolver out of this.
It's not even a revolver! The cylinders don't even feed into the chamber! It doesn't work!
You keep your logic and physics and other icks out of this.
It is literally a gun designed specifically to look like a dick and balls. And that's it.
There's a problem with that?
Yes, because it doesn't function.
Yeah, well, neither do most dicks and balls.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. There is one other problem with the gun. Besides the fact that it's not functional. In the world where it does function.
I mean, I suppose the recoil of it being a gun on your dick would kind of hurt.
Two problems. The fire mechanism is a pelvic thrust.
I don't see how that's a problem.
I chose this as my business partner.
Okay, we're talking about movies then.
Mom was right. I should have been a dentist.
I got one that's actually even stupider than that.
All right. Let's go.
So, what is stupider than a gun on your codpiece? A gun as a prosthetic leg. Cherry's leg from Planet Terror.
Oh, Oh God, I would successfully purge that from memory until this moment.
You know, I've actually not seen Planet Terror myself. I need to.
It's bad. You'll love it.
I know, that's the point. But also the point of it was to be a bad movie. It was... This was...
That was the point of Grindhouse.
Yeah, this was the point of Grindhouse. But if you're not familiar, the character Cherry is a stripper?
I don't remember.
I think she's a former stripper who loses her leg somehow and ends up with a assault rifle.
An M16 with underslung grenade launcher.
Yeah, a M16 with underslung grenade launcher as a prosthetic leg. So we're not just talking like, okay, a prosthetic leg that has a gun hidden in it, which could actually be really cool. We're talking, it is literally an assault rifle strapped to her leg, or strapped where her leg is supposed to be.
Uh-huh. Not to mention the stupid acrobatics, and yes, I'm finger quoting in real life right now, that she has to do in order to effectively fire the thing.
Yeah, you know, I was actually considering also mentioning the character from Kingsman.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but the one that had the two bladed prosthetics.
Yeah.
But as I actually went looking at those weren't quite... They were still stupid, but they weren't quite as stupid because they were modeled after actual runners' prosthetics, and they were really cool looking.
Yeah, the only part of it that was really a problem was the fact that they ended in bladed points.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's actually a design I've seen.
Yeah.
Still stupid. All right. So we see how many nerds I can piss off at once?
Sure, let's go for it.
We're going into Star Trek.
Let's see. What are we going for with Star Trek?
The Batleth is a terrible fucking weapon.
I see your point. Purely the standpoint of being a weapon, it is definitely terrible. I do personally choose to believe that it's a ceremonial weapon that is not designed for functionality, but designed for the aesthetics and... Okay, I'm talking out my ass here.
You're trying so hard to be a good little Trekkie.
Hey.
It's not working. It's just not going to work. Listen, okay, I have seen both practitioners of Eastern-style martial arts and HEMA, which is historical European martial arts, analyze this thing and just basically come up with a giant question mark on how are you even supposed to use this. It's awkward to handle. It's a little clunky. It looks great on screen, but it's just... You would be much better going with like a Darth Maul style double sword or something if you're going to be doing the two-handed motions.
Funny you say Darth Maul.
Oh,
you
no.
You think you're going to piss off nerds.
Oh no.
You think you're going to piss off nerds.
What have I done?
Okay.
What have I unleashed upon the world?
I could just let this go at just saying Star Wars. But no, I'm not going to do that.
No.
First of all, lightsabers are fucking stupid. Not only are they a very impractical, inefficient weapon that defies all laws of physics as we know them, and would require a power cell more powerful than anything we have ever created, yet that power cell is small enough to fit in something smaller than a 3D cell maglite. But also, why the fuck would you use exclusively a lightsaber over anything else?
I mean, this is basically its own episode, but I have said before that I find the sole reliance on lightsabers by Sith and Jedi both to be baffling. Because if the Force can make you super accurate with a sword, your weird hippy-dippy trippy space magic can make you hyper accurate with a gun.
You know, the current canon is the Kyber crystal does channel the Force, so maybe you're better with the lightsaber because Kyber Crystal, Force, etc., etc. But
couldn't you just make a blaster around a Kyber crystal?
I mean, that is basically what the Death Star was. Which, okay, speaking of that.
Oh, no.
Speaking of that.
Oh, no, you had to bring up the Death Star, didn't you?
I did. So,
God damn it.
Okay, first of all, Planet Exploders has an entire type of weapon. Are so stupid and wasteful. But Star Wars just goes to 11 with it because the Empire builds so many of the things when...
How many were they up to in Legends?
I have no idea.
I think they were like at least 8?
But here's the thing. A single Imperial Star Destroyer, that's the Imperial class Star Destroyer, so that's the one that's, you know, the classic iconic Star Destroyer is the Imperial class Star Destroyer, for anyone who doesn't know.
The flying gray pizza wedge.
Yeah, but the bigger one, because there's also the Victory class, which we don't see as often, but it's much smaller. Sorry.
Sometimes you need a personal pan pizza.
Exactly. Now, a single Imperial class Star Destroyer has enough firepower to render a planet uninhabitable. You take an entire fleet of them, and you can do that in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna take the pin out of 40K for a second. Exterminatus. How do they do it? Fleet of ships. Pew pew.
Exactly. And you know the beauty of that? If you take out one of those ships, if the defenders take out one of those ships, if the defenders take out half of those ships, it's still going to mean their planet is obliterated.
I gotta stop you for a moment. I hear chants of blood for the blood god, so I'm gonna put this pin back in before it gets out of hand.
Yeah, you do that.
Okay.
But also, blowing up a planet means you can't mine it for resources.
Mm-hmm.
But the Death Star is bad enough.
Oh no.
Star Killer Base. Fucking Star Killer Base. And just to be clear, I'm more annoyed at Star Killer Base from the movie because they corrected a couple of the problems in the novelization. So, first of all, Star Killer Base is built around the premise of draining the energy from a sun to power a solar system destroying weapon.
Which, I mean, if you're going to do that, just destroy that solar system sun?
That is actually what Starkiller Base does in the novel. It still drains power from another sun to shoot a beam through hyperspace to destroy the sun of the solar system, which then destroys the solar system.
That's still stupid.
It's still stupid. But
just eat that sun!
It's not as stupid as it is in the movie, though, where we see visually the beam from Starkiller Base travel from Starkiller Base to the Hosnian system, which is 40,000 light years. We visibly see it traveling through space. It doesn't open a hyperspace portal. It doesn't travel through hyperspace. It travels through space. Which means if it is traveling at the speed of light, it would take it 40,000 years to reach there.
Okay, but none of that matters. Because if you're going to consume a sun to destroy a solar system, just consume the sun of that solar system.
Yeah, but it still gets even better. This beam is a single solid beam traveling for 40,000 light years in a matter of a few minutes. And then when it reaches the Hosnian system, does it shoot the sun of the Hosnian system and blow up that sun, therefore wiping out all life in that solar system? No! This single beam of energy splits into multiple beams of energy to hit each individual planet in the Hosnian system.
Are you done?
Fucking Starkiller Base, man!
Snap out of it, man!
What? Oh, there is one other thing from Star Wars.
What's that?
Bowcasters.
Why does it need to be a crossbow?
I am sure that some... I'm sorry. I'm sure that some neckbeard is out there is going to go, actually, it's because... And yes, I am sure there is canon lore as to why the bowcaster looks like a crossbow. But that canon lore is retroactively added because there is one simple reason bowcasters were made to look like crossbows. Because it's cool looking.
Crossbows in space!
Okay, what else you got for us?
I think after that, we're gonna just chill it a little, we're gonna tone it down a little, and we're gonna take a side step back into Robert Rodriguez territory.
Okay.
And we're gonna go to Desperado. Desperado, most people don't realize, Desperado is actually the sequel to one of Robert Rodriguez's earliest movies, El Mariachi. For the sequel, they got an actual budget, which means they got, Antonio Banderas and an actual cast.
Sounds fake.
I think he made the original movie for like $10,000 in Mexico.
There's a lot you can do for $10,000 in Mexico.
There is. So, because he was a mariachi, a Mexican minstrel, basically, the main character travels around and he stores all of his weapons in a guitar case with a folding lid that looks like a standard guitar. Okay, that in and of itself, that's kind of a neat way to just walk into a bar run by the bad guys, act like you're a mariachi looking for work, they inspect your guitar, it's a guitar, you're good. By the end of the movie, things get a little too real for our protagonist, and he calls in a couple of his buddies, who are also mariachi. They arrive with weapons built into their guitar cases. Not stored in, not carried, built into, including machine guns, a flamethrower, and a rocket launcher.
Hey. Well, there is nothing wrong with a flamethrower disguised as a guitar case. I'm not going to admit that I have a flamethrower disguised as a guitar case, because if I did, then every time I tried to take my flamethrower through TSA, they'd check me. I mean, my guitar.
Right. If anybody from the TSA is listening, I don't know him.
Yeah, you do. You live with me.
I have no idea who this crazy man is.
Honestly, on the scale of things, a weapon disguised as a guitar case is kind of ridiculous, but not as bad as some other things.
It was mostly just how much armament they put into their guitars. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. We're gonna keep things mellow here for a moment.
Okay. Just gonna go mellow, chill.
You ever play 3rd edition D&D?
This Mountain Dew needs more vodka in it.
Did I just make you feel old?
Nope. Flashbacks. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, there are a lot of terrible, stupid weapons in various 3.5 and 3rd edition source books. There are some really, real winners, like the Mercurial Greatsword.
It does more damage because when you slash with it, the mercury core sloshes and adds kinetic. That is not how that works!
But I'm going for one that's actually out of the core rulebook. The Dire Flail.
Do you have a problem with my spiky wife?
What you do with your dire flail in the privacy of your own room is between you and that very painful experience.
How you doing?
Now, if you have not played 3rd edition D&D and are not familiar, the dire flail is literally 2 flails stuck together. So it's about a 4-foot body with a chain and a spiked ball on each end.
Balls.
What are you, Kaiju? No, you're not that cute.
Oh.
Now, you might be sitting there thinking, that doesn't sound like too terrible of a weapon. It is. Trust me. I'm a fire performer. I built one out of fire. You wouldn't believe how many times I smacked myself with it trying to learn to use it.
Well, smack yourself with it is one thing. The uneven weight distribution, because you were using it as a fire performance tool, which is going to be lighter and more agile to control. We're talking a metal pole, metal chain, and 2 5-pound or greater metal chunks with metal spikes.
I don't think they were quite that heavy, but still, even if they're like 2 pounds, that's still a lot of steel.
Some of the official 3.5 art for dire flails, those were some chunky boys.
Now, and they might have been a wooden base in the middle, but even still. And of course, here's the other problem with using that as a weapon. What does chain do?
It swings.
And wraps around things. So, what happens if I'm taking my dire flail and I swing to hit you, and then I intend to take and swing with the other side to smack you or someone else, and my chain has decided to wrap around your arm or your sword or something like that?
Several of the art pieces I saw, it was using a very short chain.
If it's a really short chain, that kind of defeats the purpose of having the chain on there.
But either way, it's just dumb all around.
Oh, it's just dumb all around. Almost as dumb as the spiked chain.
Why you gotta come for me like this?
Hey, I love the spiked chain too. It was my favorite weapon to use. But it was so stupid.
Don't do it, man.
Don't
do this to me.
Okay.
Not my baby.
First of all, we discussed the problem with spikes when we talked about the spiked baseball bat. So it would stick to things. But also it's a chain, so it can wrap around things. Which now, that was granted, you could use that if you knew what you were doing to trip your opponent. But still. So you have the disadvantage of it sticking into things when you don't want it to, and wrapping around things when you don't want it to, and chains swinging around unpredictably, because the entire thing is chain. So if you're not really in control of it, it's going to swing around and smack you in the back of the head, and the spikes can go straight through your skull and come out your eye socket. But remember, this is D&D, so as long as it doesn't do more damage than you have hit points, you're fine.
Well, fine. If you're going to be that way, I'll throw one of my own wives under the bus.
Am I going to get you to talk bad about From Software? I broke Graham.
No. At least not yet. Although I guess this kind of will segue into it. Alright, whatever, fine. This is now the From Software Power Hour. Although my first entry here is from multiple properties. And that is the Colossal Greatsword, Ultra Greatsword, Buster Sword, whatever name you want to use for sharpened steel girder on a stick. Literally cannot be lifted by a human.
That is not true.
Yes, it is.
It depends on which particular version you're talking, because there is a smith who created a Buster Sword and has wielded it, sort of.
That sort of is doing a whole lot of heavy lifting. Is it Rock Lee?
I don't remember his name, but here's the thing.
That was an anime reference.
Depending on the specific version of the weapon, some of them could be actually wielded by humans. It depends on which ones. Others are too heavy for a person to wield them. And I'm not saying wield effectively, I'm just saying wield at all.
Yeah, most of the smiths I have seen, including Man-at-Arms and other similar internet shows where they create weapons out of pop culture, they have done things on the scale of Buster. And what typically happens is they hoist it up, sometimes with somebody behind them helping hold it, and then they literally just tip it forward and let gravity pull it because there's no other way to use it.
Yeah. However, you did say they were too heavy for a human to lift. They are too heavy for a human to effectively wield, but they're not too heavy for a human to lift.
I'm going to wield one into your face.
No, you won't. Because you're not strong enough to.
All right, back to the From Software Power Hour.
My dog is too cute.
She is. She's a good dog. And for you, those of you worried, don't worry. She's getting belly rubs as we speak. Because she's a good dog. We did say there was a dog. All right. So I'm just going to go through several of From Software's finest, question mark? Now, don't get me wrong. I love From Software.
Too much.
Dark Souls, Bloodborne. We don't talk about Sekiro. Elden Ring.
Fucking masochist.
We don't talk about Sekiro.
We don't talk about Sekiro?
I will hurt you.
We don't talk about Sekiro. No.
Could you come here for a minute?
No. If you want to stab me with that pathetically tiny knife, you gotta get up off your lazy ass and come do it yourself.
Your days are numbered. One of these days I will kill you in your sleep with a tiny knife.
We don't talk about Sekiro.
God damn it. This is what I have to work with. So, the first thing I want to talk about very briefly, we're going to talk about some things from Bloodborne, which is my favorite From Software title of all time.
What was that? What was that, Kaiju?
But we're going to be fairly brief about this because I have a lot of things to get through here just off the top of my head. So we're going to start with Ludwig's Holy Sword. This is a standard longsword that locks into its scabbard to become a bigger sword.
Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of a scabbard?
A little bit. You see the problem here. We also have the Kirk Hammer, which is also a longsword that locks into its scabbard. Except in this case, the scabbard is a heavy maul.
That's not too stupid.
The hammerhead is larger than most grave headstones.
That is kind of stupid, and also why then would you bother with the sword in the body, because the hammer is going to be more dangerous than the sword?
Well, mostly so that you can switch between agile swordplay and heavy smashy, but it's still stupid. Don't get me wrong, fun in a video game, but it would never work.
Really, if I was going to do something like that, I'd go with a lighter weight maul, and I would have it so you have sword, maul, or sword and maul, which creates a really nice, versatile combat style.
Then we have Ligarius' wheel, which is a wagon wheel. Not a wagon wheel on a chain or a bladed wheel, or no, it's just a wheel off of a wagon.
Okay, a wagon wheel is actually a very effective weapon.
No, it's not. It's awkward, clumsy, and there are way better ways to do what it does.
I have seen people fight with wagon wheels. It works.
You hang out with some very weird people.
Yes, I do.
Now, the one I do want to spend a little bit of time on, though, is the whirligig saw. What is the whirligig saw, you ask?
No, I didn't.
Your eyes were asking it.
No, my eyes were asking, why hasn't he shut up already?
The whirligig saw is, in fact, a buzzsaw on a stick.
Batter that, fry it, you can sell it at the county fair.
And when it turns on, it literally just buzzes into it. So you can either like hit people with it like a large jagged mace, I guess, or you can turn it on and buzz into them. Again, it's cool from a video game perspective, but no.
So you mean Krieg's mace or Krieg's axe?
But stupider.
That's pretty impressive.
Elden Ring has a few winners. First, we have the Giza's Wheel, which is basically just the whirligig saw, Part 2, electric.
Buzzaloo?
Sazayu? We'll workshop it. Let's see, we have the hand ballista.
You mean a crossbow?
No, I mean a hand ballista.
Ballista is giant crossbow. So, scale giant crossbow down to hand size, you have crossbow.
Except it's not really hand size, it's just portable size.
So, big crossbow.
Isn't that just what a ballista is?
Giant ballista is giant crossbow.
Oh, so what's the difference between a large crossbow and a giant crossbow? Are they not both just really big crossbows?
But what's the difference between something as large and something as giant anyways?
Well, according to D&D rules, nothing, because most giants are large category.
Unless they're huge.
Don't see that as often these days.
True. But also, here's the thing. If I say a large man, you're going to picture someone who's like, 6 foot, 6'2", 6'5", maybe kind of bulky. But if I say a giant man, what are you going to think of? You're not going to think of someone who's like, 6 foot something and kind of bulky. You're going to think of someone who's like at least 10 feet. Like, you're going to think of someone who's like a giant. You're going to think of like Andre, well, maybe not quite 10, but you're going to think of like Andre the Giant.
Anyway, it's a hand ballista.
Big ass crossbow.
Which is, again, video game logic looks cool, but like, all I'm saying is you better hope you hit what you were aiming at. Otherwise, by the time you're done reloading it, you've just been impaled.
Kinky?
Well, I mean, I guess if they buy me dinner. In the similar category, we have the jar cannon.
Is that like the jar from Team Fortress 2?
No, they are very different things. Very different things.
Which one's worse?
I gotta go with Team Fortress 2, because, ew.
We'll get back to that in a moment if you're not familiar with it.
So the jar cannon is a man-portable cannon, which, first of all, terrible idea. Man-portable cannons have been tried throughout history, and they never quite take because they're too cumbersome, too bulky, etc. This one is especially stupid, though, because it uses the powder charge inside to violently propel. Well, what do you think a man-portable cannon would propel?
Giant dick. Oh, wait, sorry. I was thinking Saints Row for a moment. If I was going to do a man-portable cannon, I would probably go with grape shot or other similar scattershot charge, so you have less recoil and a really good anti-personnel field.
This fires harpoons. So basically, it fires the hand ballista ammo, but out of a man-portable cannon.
Captain Ahab says what?
Pretty much. That's not, however, the weirdest things to come out of Elden Ring. There are two different types of envoy horns. Envoys are these, I don't even have the time to describe them, but their weapons are clubs.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with club.
That are also musical horns.
That's a little bit weird, but not that stupid.
And when you play them and use their weapon skill, they blow magic bubbles that hit your enemy and deal damage. I just felt it deserved an honorable mention at least because... What?
I mean, at which point you're basically just talking a magical horn that deals damage, so I don't really consider that stupid because that's a little bit weird, but it's in the realm of magical weaponry. I don't think it's that stupid. Personally.
Okay, fine. I give you the pulley crossbow. This is a crossbow that fires in 3-round bursts.
Okay, that would take some engineering, but you could do it.
With one string.
I mean, maybe if it fired, like, pellets? If you shot, like, basically slugs out of it?
Standard crossbow bolts.
The physics do not work.
And that's why it's here. But, if we want to get really ridiculous, I got two more for you that are just absolutely what the fuck. Ready for this? The grafted dragon.
So, like, a dragon head that breathes fire?
It is, in fact, an entire dragon that you graft onto your arm and punch people with.
Why? What is the benefit of punching somebody with apparently a tiny fucking dragon grafted onto your arm instead of, I don't know, maybe even just like taking its jaw and making a slashing weapon out of its jaw or something? But no, you're punching people with a tiny dragon.
Mm-hmm. The boss you get it from has a whole head grafted onto his arm. From a full-size dragon.
First question.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck are these people smoking?
I don't know, but can I have some?
That's my second question, actually. Can I have some?
From Software is out there. Let's see, we also have the ringed finger, which is a giant severed finger covered in rings.
You can get fingered.
The handle is protruding exposed finger bone.
You can get finger boned.
The weapon skill is the finger will enlarge.
Kinky.
And then flick your opponent.
It'll flick you off.
Alright, I'm going to end the From Software Power Hour on something a little more mundane. Something that actually makes a little more amount of sense, you know. To get this weapon, what you do is you go out into the frozen wasteland of late game areas.
I already don't like it. It's cold.
Raid a fortress.
Okay.
There you're going to find a veteran commander.
So I take it I'm going to kick his ass and steal his weapon.
Almost.
I'm going to kick his weapon and steal his ass?
You're going to kick his ass and then steal his leg.
Am I just carrying around a leg to beat somebody with? I mean, if I'm carrying around a severed arm and grafting a dragon to my arm, I suppose just carrying around a leg and beating somebody with it would make sense.
Oh, I forgot to mention, he's a disabled veteran.
Well, then why are we beating him up?
In order to take his leg. Obviously.
But...
So, let's
then he's
recap.
even more disabled.
Let's recap. Well, he's dead by the time you're done.
I thought you couldn't die in Elden Ring.
You can kill people. Other people can't necessarily die.
Okay, whatever.
So you go to an outpost in the middle of nowhere. Bear in mind, you are literally going out of your way to do this. Locate this individual. Find a disabled veteran. Kill him. Take his prosthetic leg. And use it as a fist weapon.
So you're fisting somebody with a prosthetic leg.
That is also electrified.
Now you're just getting kinky.
Right? Yeah, From Software games are a trip, and I love them, but we're not here to talk about those.
So, I actually hadn't thought of this one until you mentioned the jar cannon. But I gotta give a special little mention to Team Fortress 2, what was it, Jarate or whatever?
Something like that, yeah. The sniper.
The special weapon for the sniper.
God,
which
I
is
forgot about it.
Literally, a glass jar of piss. Because he hangs out in the sniper spot forever, so he can't leave the sniper spot. So, what is a guy to do when he's hanging out in a spot and can't leave?
Pee in a jar, apparently.
Pee in a jar. And then throw the jar at somebody.
Oh. I know some ex-presidents who might be into that.
I'm not even touching that one.
I wouldn't touch that either. That is about as close to political as we're going to get on this particular channel. All right. Well, we've kind of been blathering for a while here, haven't we?
A little bit.
All right. I want to give us basically what I consider some honorable mentions.
Or dishonorable mentions.
As the case may be. Borderlands. All of it. Just all of it. Pick a gun. They don't work.
I got another dishonorable mention for you.
Go for it.
Soul Calibur series.
You're just coming after all of my heart and soul, aren't you?
Yes, I'm coming after your Soul Calibur.
I mean, we have a bunch of sharpened metal girders. We have...
Thinking Soul Calibur?
Yeah.
You got Ivy's sword.
That thing only works because of magic. No other reason.
You've got... can never remember her name. Tali? Yeah, Tali's wheel.
No.
Or I thought it was...
Tali has Tonfas.
That's right.
Tira? I think her name might have been Tira.
I don't know, but it's been a long time since I played it. But the
crazy psycho little raven-haired chick with the giant metal hula hoop.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know who you mean. I just can't remember her name. I think it was Tira, but I'm not sure.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And you've got, of course, the Soul Calibur itself.
The demonic sword that will just not die. That everybody wants for some reason. Although that's technically the Soul Edge. The Soul Calibur is the true sword everybody wants, but everybody mistakes Soul Edge for Soul Calibur. We don't have time to get into it.
Right. Right.
Hi, I'm a big fan of Soul Calibur. We don't have time. Real quick. Super soldiers.
No. Just no. Super soldiers are not a weapon, and that is its own episode. But I got one for you. You're going to hate me for this one. Giant robots.
I mean, they are pretty impractical, but, chicks dig giant robots.
You're not wrong.
Sorry, Megas XLR. Alright. Fine. You leave me no choice. I'm pulling the pin. Warhammer 40K. The entire thing. Just all of it.
Hey, not all of it. Flamers are cool.
Yeah, but Prometheum, the fuel for the flamers, is also stupid.
Your face is stupid.
Your mom's face is stupid.
Your face's mom is stupid.
That makes no sense.
Neither do any of these weapons.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, 40K. Now, here's in the defense of 40K. 40K is satire. They're supposed to be stupid.
I don't think the majority of people who call themselves 40K fans know that, though.
I think you're right. But 40K is satire.
You would think the fungus people whose technology works because they believe it works would have been a tip-off.
Or the fact that the entirety of the Imperium of Man is basically designed to tell people a God Emperor is a bad idea.
I mean, I could rant about the particulars of 40K, but we don't have time.
We do not have time for that. There's one thing we forgot with all these stupid weapons.
Oh, God. All right. What?
Ruby.
We don't have fucking time for that. That's it for this week.
If you like what we do, you can give us a like, follow, rating, and all of that nonsense on your favorite podcatcher.
You can also support us on Patreon for special bonus content and episodes a week early, or tip us on coffee. You can find those and our social media platform and Discord server on our link tree found in the show notes.
Also, be sure to give our friends over at Robots Don't Age some love.
Hey everybody, this is Cody from the Robots Don't Age podcast, and you're listening to Two Idiots and a Dog Unleashed. Be sure to check us out on Twitter and them out on Twitter and Discord as well. Thanks for listening.
Last but certainly not least, we want to give a quick shout out to all our supporters on Patreon and Ko-fi, especially these idiots.
That would be Random Warrior and Rain. And we're sorry.
Very sorry. Sorry again, Drawfee.